Alright guys, we're going to get ready to install the Metal Cloak Rear Fender Flares. We have opted for the mod cut style of bracket. So what we're going to do is line this up. What I found is actually there are two factory Fender Flare holes that match up very well with the body opening and the holes they have on here. So we're going to get those drilled, kind of temporary mount the flare. That way we can mark our other holes. And then we're going to cut the body openings a little bit larger for the larger tires. All right, Metal Cloak provides us with 3/8 bolts. So what we're going to do is those top two holes is open those up. I'm using a step drill bit to 3/8. All right, what I've done is since the kit comes with lock nuts, I've just taken some regular 3/8 nuts on the back side just to secure this nice and tight. That way it'll hold it up against the body. I'm just gonna go ahead and start just outlining holes. That way we know where they are. Now this is our cut point, so I'm also gonna outline where we're cutting. All right, we've got our center punch here. This is kind of a nifty just push punch guy. We've got two here and two here. These are going to be actually holding the Fender Flares themselves with the bracket on. So by their instructions, those get drilled slightly larger. You also see we've got a factory hole that's just kind of offset, so that'll help in locating that flare with a slightly larger hole. Other than that, the rest of these holes will not be used. We'll get everything drilled, and then we'll come back to show you how we cut. All right, to cut the side of the tub as far as our mod cut to open up for the larger wheels, going to use a collection of tools. First is a air cutoff wheel. I've got just a flat disc on an air grinder, and then or die grinder. And the last one, it'll be a larger flat disc on an electric cutoff wheel. You can use a body saw, a electric cutoff wheel, plasma cutter if you want. You can use a Sawzall if you want. This is just something I found that I have the most control out of when we're cutting, is just the air powered guys. So we'll start and kind of cut a line and then cut through. All right, so we've got the main piece cut off. What I do now is file that just with our large flap off wheel. Now we had a tab here that was originally for Fender Flares. Rather than cutting that and having extra exposed metal, I went ahead and just kind of hammered that back. Same thing I'm doing where the lip of the fender was cut through, is just kind of hammer that back, that way it's not getting caught on a tire. And final step here is we're going to take our die grinder with the flap wheel and just get into some of the smaller spots we weren't able to get. You can see we've got some rough edges here. And that just smooths everything right up. We're going to go ahead and give that side as well as the holes just a little coat of spray paint, help protect them. We've got the same paint we use on the fenders in an aerosol can from Tractor Supply. And I'm just going to give all the holes we drilled. I'm going to leave these because we still got to cut. And then I'm going to come in on the back side as well here. And just make sure I've got everything a nice coat. That way we'll protect it from any rust that may happen later on in life. And then we're going to repeat the same steps on our rear side. Alright, now we're going to start mounting the fender bracket. What I've done is put anti-seize on the first two bolts that we're going to use. We'll get those in. And each one's going to get a washer and a lock nut behind it. All right, for the next part, we're going to be using the brackets that they supplied. Pretty much those are going to be going behind the tub, and then we're going to be screwing our bolts into there, and we are also going to be using that to attach the Fender Flares. So I'm going to grab the flare, and then we'll get everything mounted up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start mounting the flare itself. What I'm going to do is start with one of these guys back here by itself, no Loctite yet, just so I can use this to hold in place the fender while I place the rest. So that'll hold in place, and we are going to Loctite, washer, and backing plate. I'm just doing that snug right now. The other thing we're going to do is, again with Loctite, is apply the bottom two bolts that are going to hold the fender flare on that tube as well. And I'm just going to back out that one bolt that we did not put Loctite on. And that concludes the installation of the rear fender flares. And we're just going to give everybody a look at the Metal Cloak rear fender flares. These are the 6-inch version. Again, we did the mod cut to open the wheel opening. We are going to be running 37s on here with either a 2.5 or 3.5 inch lift. We'll see what works.